Yes, um, you're reading the title of this video correct. I think we should ban divorce, not abortions. Because my question is, do people still value marriage? Do people still value marriage? Divorce is, we'll get to divorce, we'll get to the numbers, but abortion, let's talk about abortion. Over a dozen states have completely eliminated the right for you to be able to get abortions. And over half of the states have restrictions now today, making it harder for you to get an abortion if you so choose. And everybody has their own opinion on that, and you're right to your own opinion. But that person should be right to be able to do what they would do with their body as well. But okay. And the reason why I ask, do people still value marriage, is because I think about the impact of Porsha Williams. And you can't just stop at, they got divorced, it's just another celebrity couple or whatever it is, a celebrity end of relationship, and this just happens. People get divorced, right? But let me paint a picture. There's a 39-year-old woman, African-American, black, beautiful, got a nice body, looks 25 if you were to just quickly look at her. This woman hears from someone else that her male coworker, just some coworker, is having a divorce. This 39-year-old woman hears from somebody else that her male coworker is having a divorce. So what does she do? What does this 39-year-old do? Well, before she does anything, she also hears that there's a newborn, a baby involved in this divorce. So she does what I guess she thinks is what any caring person as a coworker would do. Not a brother, not a sister, not a cousin, but a coworker. A male coworker at that. She thinks that it's right for her to shoot him a DM. Oh, by the way, the guy that she's just, showing support for during these tough times is 16 years older than her and has been married 3 times. It's not the first time he's been through this. And I think she knew that already. You fast forward a month later, maybe 2, you go from a DM, divorce, to now this 39-year-old is the new wife of this near 60-year-old man who was just a coworker a couple months before. She went from supportive, concerned coworker to a 4th wife, all within a couple months. And when you listen to her, it's clear that, to me, they bonded off each other's trauma. They met while he's going through a divorce. They married while that process hasn't really even finalized. They just finalized it, according to her, but it's still lingering. It's still there. So I repeat, my first question is do people value marriage? Because again, I say ban divorce, don't ban abortions. But people will get upset about that, right? Well, why? Because if I get in a relationship with somebody, I should be able to get out of that relationship if I don't think it's going to work, if we don't have a good fit. Well, you shouldn't have gotten into a relationship. You shouldn't have gotten married. You shouldn't have married them. Shouldn't have married that person. And if you don't think that's right, then you shouldn't say that about abortions. Because at the end of the day, if you believe people should be able to do as free will, as God intended us to be, you can't pick and choose what you want to do with that freedom. The Bible says you should not divorce. I don't think the Bible says that so you can just be stuck in an abusive relationship. You should be able to have a legal way to be able to divorce. When I say illegal, I don't mean make it illegal for all. I mean, it should be a quick legal process if you want a divorce. But I think we need to look at that part in the Bible and think of it as, well, you really need to think hard and good about who you're marrying. And unfortunately, these celebrities like a Porsha Williams, their stories always make you question if they're even marrying for love or if they're marrying for publicity, financial gain, whatever, money. And tell me how you listen to Porsha Williams and think different. I mean, how do you think that they were in real love? I can't judge, but, who do we to know how they felt? But where did that love come from? Was there something going on before then? Maybe so, but I didn't hear that. So they say, oh, Donovan, divorce happens. It's not a big deal. Well, you're right. The numbers say divorce is very common in America. The divorce rate is extremely high. But as a black man, I view things a little different. I go through a different scope. And when I read these stats, I see one glaring statistic. That black people lead in divorce, and they lead it at a rate of 30%. So about 1 out of every 3 married couples get divorced. Those 2-3 married people in your family, one of them are going to get divorced over the next probably 10 years. Just 5 to 10 years probably shorter than that. For me to ignore this is for me to say that divorce doesn't impact lives. Well, it does. And you may not know, if you may not feel it, you may not see it, it may not impact you directly, but there's always somebody impacted. If you haven't already, take a look at the episode that I did on the reaction I did on the documentary on Nickelodeon, the Quiet on Set documentary, because I believe divorce had a big impact on the kids, at least one child, at least one kid, in that situation. You got one husband saying that one thing, you got a mom feeling another. Neither one of them really did the right thing, and they weren't on the same page as a team, as one. They weren't one the way God intended marriages to be, to even make a decision. This is why you should not divorce, is because how do you make decisions when you're separate? But again, you don't want to marry someone who, of course, you're going to despise or hate. But why should you even marry why are you marrying somebody that could be a possibility? I can't visualize myself hating my wife. Now you can say, oh, well, she can do anything. What if she does X, Y, Z and cheats and does this? And you never know. And then 20 years later, well, guess what? I don't think I married that person. And if it happens, then I'll figure that out at that time. And I'm sure that 70% of that 30% of divorces probably thought that same thing. But yeah, I think that's an example. This Porsha Williams is an example that a lot of people just don't put a whole lot of thought into who they marry. And best thing for us on the sideline who's just kind of looking at this is to take it. You got to learn from everything, right? But the learning for here is, definitely take into consideration who you marry. And it doesn't mean that you can't get married within the 2 months of knowing each other. It just means that, maybe you should write a list about what you want, because if what you want is somebody who's 16 years older than you, who's been through 3 marriages already, who's willing to talk to you while they're still in one, divorcing in the process, then you're going to get what you deserve. And that's, I think, 16 months of marriage. And I'm pretty sure they were only happy for a month of that. They were probably trying to get out of there for that. They were probably happy for half of it, trying to get out of it for the second half, having doubts, because that's how it works. I've been blessed enough to be married for the same person for about 7 years now. Been with her for even longer than that, double that. And I can tell you right now, you can be in love with somebody, but that doesn't mean you're not going to have phases, because you have phases, she has. Y'all are individuals who are trying to be one, and it takes work. I wish we had some better examples of married couples out there where we don't have to see these celebrities all the time. And then that's a good thing for if you're raising any kids, keep them off social media. Don't let them have idols. Don't let them pay attention to all the BS shows about reality and all that crap. And just live life.